Hello and welcome to Open Rhina Valentin, your host, Café con Leche, for the next hour, inviting you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. As we continue to celebrate Women's History Month, we welcome back Women's Empire's founder and CEO, Anika Joseph. And a little background on Women's Empire. It's a nonprofit organization that curates programs and events for women of color in underserved communities. And well, this upcoming Thursday, they will be hosting their Celebrating Women Who Tell Our Stories event, a panel discussion with 5 distinguished women who have participated in advancing women's education, finance, entrepreneurship, health, and advocacy. And here to share more, we welcome Women's Empire, founder and CEO, Anika Joseph. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me again. Thank you.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You are still in the movement, and we love that. And we certainly must highlight that to our audience because, well, not to say anything less other than, this event is taking place in the Bronx. So we are advocating each other. Happy Women's History Month to you.
Thank you so much. Same as well.
All right. So I understand that this particular event is being supported by the Office for Prevention of Hate Crimes. Let's start there with how important and the having that level of support. I know you have other supporters, but that for me, it kind of like sends a message of how it is that we really should be altering the way we're having these conversations.
Yes, I agree. And I really want to thank our grant funders for being able to give us the funding to be able to expand our work and specifically focus on hate crime and gender bias, because those are areas that are continuously affecting our communities. And this is an opportunity to expand that conversation, even in Women's History Month, and also tie in a role of celebration, celebrating the fact that there is liberation, that we are women, and that we are continuing to do more, even in the faces of the hate crimes that continue to perpetrate our community, and also gender bias just in the workplace or just in our natural everyday surroundings. So I would just want to say thank you to them for that.
And who are you saying thank you to? Who are your supporters? I've only mentioned one, so I'm giving you the floor to mention the other ones.
Thank you so much. So we've actually been given the grant funding from our partners against hate crime, Path to 67 Clergy, and through the Office of Hate Crime and Prevention. Through their initiatives and through their work, we are able to expand some of their initiative on a local ground level in the community of the Bronx.
Wonderful. Okay. So that being said, let's share a little bit about how it is that you've curated this particular event.
So this particular event, Celebrating Women Who Tell Our Stories, is not our, or I would say Women's Empire's specific theme. This is an overall theme for women all across the world who are celebrating Women's History Month. So it's an opportunity for us to partner with other organizations and other people that are still celebrating women who tell our stories. And I love the piece about our stories because we all can take initiative on the fact that another woman from another part of this country or another part of this world is telling a version of our story as a woman. So this initiative came into play because as a women's organization who is all about empowering women and girls, we want to make sure that as much as we're having these tough conversations and spaces, that we also celebrate each other. A lot of times as women, we spend our time really working hard and we forget to admire the things that are beautiful and take initiative to admire ourselves for our work. So this is an opportunity to bring women together, but to also celebrate 5 specific women who we have identified in our local community who are doing a lot of work specifically in their respective areas across education, finance, entrepreneurship, health, and advocacy. And I think all of those areas tie in very well to some of the sectors that are available for Women Plus. So it's an opportunity to just celebrate them but to celebrate ourselves. So this is not an event specifically just for the panelists. It's curated in two ways. We wanted to make sure we are being informative, so people can come out and learn from these women and hear about how they've navigated their spaces respectively in their areas, but also an opportunity that every woman that steps into that door will be celebrated in a very special way. And you have to be there to know what that celebration is going to look like for you. But it's a two-part event where we are going to have a discussed panel event, but it's an opportunity for us to come together and meet new women and say, like, this is Women's History Month, regardless of the month of March. We're celebrating you out through the year, but we want to take this specific designated time to celebrate everyone.
Right. And the beauty of it is that you have women from all, as you mentioned, sectors in business and contributions to community, as well as, you know, serving in their leadership roles. And so um uh let's just share with our viewers, let's just say if someone is watching and they happen to want to go, or they feel a little intimidated, and or they're unsure as to whether this is a fit for them, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, come out anyway. Come out anyway. You don't want to miss just based off of the fear that this may not be for you. If you're a woman of color, or any woman at all, a plus, I would like to say women plus others. And we are very much open to men. Come out and see exactly what we're talking about. I think there's a special place for everyone in this event, because it is an opportunity for partnership. It is an opportunity for collaboration. And we are open to additional sectors, or of people that want to share their organizations or share their businesses. So there is an opportunity to hear from our audience and not just from the panelists. So we want to meet you, we want to hear from you, and we want to celebrate you even in your own way. There will be an opportunity for icebreakers, networking. It is free, and we will be providing food and gifts. So it's just another opportunity, like, hey, if you're not sure, come out anyway and ask, and we will happily incorporate you into the event and make it special for you in a unique way.
Right. And it's important that we share this because the event is free, and it is something that should be really taken advantage of, right? Like, this is a wonderful opportunity to kind of expose yourself, and or just place yourself in an environment that you're going to be supported, because it is an event that is primarily women of color. And it is inclusive, as you've mentioned, and then let's just mention the panelists and the sectors that they represent. I know you have Megan Isabel, you have Sheena Strada Anthony, you have Tabitha Turnier, you have Terry L. Decal, I hope I'm saying that right, and Christine Rivera, and they all have different professions.
Agreed. Yes, they all have different professions, and it took us a long time to identify these women, but we wanted to make sure that we do have 5 pillars in our organization. And Women's Empire believe that if you're able to empower women in education and finance, through entrepreneurship, through health and wellness, and end the violence against women, which covers our advocacy component, you're giving that woman a 360 level of empowerment. So we wanted to make sure we identify women specifically in New York City and specifically in the Bronx who are able to bring knowledge and expertise in these areas. And all of these women actually are very, very successful in these areas. And we wanted them to share that wealth of information, how they've navigated that spaces, but also incorporated the gender biases that they have encountered, to share that, because a lot of the times we are navigating spaces and we assume that it's just us doing it. These women have shown themselves to be dynamic in their own way, but have also specifically navigated in areas of gender bias. And we want to hear how they did that, and we want to celebrate them for their work. So it's really an honor to have these 5 panelists, and I cannot wait to meet some of them in person. I know a few of them personally, but I'm excited to have the panel event so we can learn so much more about them individually, but they want to celebrate all the other folks that are coming out as well, because it's an opportunity for them to give back to their community and share that wealth of knowledge right back.
Right. It's so important for us to see each other in these roles. It just really is. It more than I think we even realize, and it's even better when and more refreshing to actually experience it in person. And I mentioned the names, but I do want to mention to our audience what their roles are. So we had Megan Isabel, who is a special education teacher at the NYC Department of Education, and then we have mentor teacher at Columbia University teaching residency. And then we have Sheena Estrada Anthony, who's the founder and CEO of Feel Good Investments. Then Tabitha Turnier, CEO of Turnier Events, The Bossy Brunch. And then we have Terry L. DeCal, who's an MSN, APRN, AGNP, BC, and adult gerontology nurse practitioner at New York Presbyterian Hospital. And then Christine Rivera is an attorney, a staff attorney in the criminal defense practice for Bronx Defenders. So again, that was just to elaborate further on the different sectors that are going to be touched upon during your event, which is lovely. It's really exciting.
Yes, very exciting. Women's Empire is about empowerment. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot. And sometimes people are asking, like, what is empowerment? We like to empower people with information. We want to make sure that whether or not you want to access Google, open an encyclopedia, or go to another business forum, we want to bring all of those wealths of knowledge directly to you in your community for free. So when you are excelling as a woman in various different spaces and you're trying to grow, you would have known what questions to ask. How do you navigate the proper pay? How do you encounter when your boss is treating you in a particular way? What does it look like? And talk about those feelings and how to navigate those spaces, because we want women to be successful. And in that part of being successful, we want to show you some tips and tricks. Some of it may not always apply to every single person, but we want to show you the things that we've learned and offer you that advice. So as you navigate those spaces, that's one less barrier for you. One less barrier as you're trying to navigate that corporate ladder. One less barrier as you're trying to build that business, because you have encountered a person that you've met and said, here are the things that you should look out for. It's about, holding each other accountable, but it's also about supporting each other so we don't have to repeat some of the same mistakes. And all of our experiences are just naturally so different. So we want to hear, like, wow, this happened at your job. I've never heard anything like this, but that doesn't mean you may never encounter it at some point in your career, in your life, in your home, with your children, with your family. And we want to offer you tips and tricks on how to navigate those spaces. I really want women to take away something special about gender bias and the roles of navigating those spaces. But also, I don't want to leave on the topic that this is what Women's History Month is about. We want to celebrate also the things that we are all doing in that capacity as well.
Wonderful, Anika, and thank you for creating these spaces and producing this environment where it's women supporting women, offering them tools to just be able to better navigate through life in general, right? Because what applies to business applies to your personal life as well. So thank you, and thank you for bringing it here on Open. Once again, everyone, Anika Joseph, Women's Empire's founder and CEO. We were discussing Celebrating Women Who Tell Our Stories event, which is taking place on Thursday, March 30th, between 6 and 8:30 p.m. at Ultimate Grill, which is located at 1345 Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. And for more information, you can visit womensempire.org. All right, stay tuned. More Open when we return. Don't go anywhere.